Hey, just working on an ancient Egyptian puzzle. You know, while I've been working on this, I've realized that I've never really touched on my love of card games. And I think it's about time we talk about it. Let's go. Yeah, I filmed the intro to this video back in February of this year, and I just haven't liked any of the takes that I've done of this video. I had a very specific setup. I was gonna do background of each card game, I was gonna do gameplay elements, marketability, and then my final review. And that was just boring as all hell. It was just awful and boring, and I didn't like it. This is my fourth attempt at recreating this video, and hopefully I'll like it and you'll like it, and maybe I'll throw in some jokes. Who knows? It's a card game. But none of that matters now. You've been waiting, quote unquote, waiting for this video. Nobody knew this was coming out except me. So let's get to the important part. Strap on your dual discs and let's get into a grown man's opinion about a children's card game. Chances are that if you grew up in the 90s or the 2000s, you know exactly what Yu-Gi-Oh is. We've all heard of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's about the boy with the crazy hair who has an ancient Egyptian spirit in his body that helps him win card games whenever he wants to. It's an anime. Of course it's going to have an overly ridiculous plot. In fact, the anime gets some rules of the card game off because, in most ways, the card game in the anime is not the same as the one we have in real life. Anyway, enough yammering and time to go over the gameplay basics of this old cool card game. So this is what your Yu-Gi-Oh field looks like. You've got a deck zone, a graveyard, a field card zone, and an extra deck zone. You have 5 monster zones, 5 spell and trap card zones, and 2 anime girls, generally. For a game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you start off with 5 cards in your hand, you have 4,000 life points each, and you have 3 types of cards: monster cards, spell cards, and trap cards. The goal of the game is just to get your opponent's life points down or get them to draw out their deck, in which case they don't have any more cards to draw and automatically lose. Now, when you have a monster card in your hand, you can play these one of 2 ways. If it's a card of 4 stars or lower, you can play it in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. If it's a card of 5 stars or higher, you need to sacrifice 1 or more monsters to play that card unless the card says so. When you play a spell card, you can either play it down on your spell and trap card zone, or you can play it face down to use for later. Spells with a symbol that looks like a rose compass go in the field card zone, and they affect your entire field. When you play a trap card, you play it face down on your turn, and then any turn after the turn that you played it down, you can flip it face up at any point in time, unless the card specifies. And that's the basics. It was only as hard as a few different shots and me sweating as much as I am right now because I have no AC and this room is killing me. But how would I, a card game aficionado, rate this card game? Overall, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a really fun game, but I have a problem with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community wherein it seems really unfriendly towards the new players, much like the game itself. I'm wearing a new shirt now, because my camera cut out and I didn't notice. Anyway, Konami tried to rectify this a couple ways, the first one being a new format called Speed Duel, which is a modified format of Yu-Gi-Oh! That was made easier for beginners of Yu-Gi-Oh! The problem with this was that they didn't have really anything to sell Speed Duels on, so it didn't sell that well, but they are still making Speed Duels, so if you would like a physical copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you don't know how to play and you would like to learn, I would suggest picking up a box of Speed Duel or something. They're usually pretty cheap. The second format is Rush Duel, which is very similar to Speed Duel, but a little bit less modified. But that format is only in the Japanese official card game and not in the English trading card game. If you do not have access to physical cards, or if you just don't want to spend the money, or if you don't have the money to spend on physical Yu-Gi-Oh cards but you would like to learn how to play, or if you haven't played in a while, don't want to spend the money, can't spend the money, and would like to play somehow, you can get the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links application. This is a free application you can get on your mobile device or on your computer, and it just teaches you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It uses the speed duel format, so it is a modified version of Yu-Gi-Oh! But it teaches you how to play. You can pick up most cards up until the 4th series of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think the 4th or the 5th series right now. I think they just released Pendulum Monsters. So yeah, that's my recommendation if you would like to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game at all. All of that being said, for my final rating, I would rate Yu-Gi-Oh! A 7 out of 10 stars. Like I said before, this is one of my favorite card games. It's the card game that I am the most familiar with, and it's just very close to my heart. And with that, that is the end of the video. I would like to thank you for sticking around if you did watch this video. I'm going to be producing more videos of this type for card games. I just wanted to go through a bunch of different card games, maybe do different types of videos for different formats. But I would like to talk about some other stuff real quick before we let you go. First things first, a new Magnus Archives fan film is being worked on. I'm trying to make it look good, kind of like I did with Mr. Spider, and nothing that I've made so far has looked quite up to what I've wanted it to be, so it might take a little bit for that to come out. Other than that, I will have links down below for some more stuff you can check out, and that is all for now. Until next time, drink your water, and I will see you later.